So there I am, in my bed on this bank holiday. And why not? Why shouldn't we be in our bed? We should be in our bed if we want to be. I'm not in case management this morning, so I'm chilling on my bed. Now you get to see MJ in her bed. What's that one? And also I've got a carer here. So yeah, this is a story that I gave, a talk that I gave in Cardiff, as you can see. There's the Cardiff Millennium Centre. And it was following me going to the Millennium Centre the night before. And I went to see the ticket you can see there is the story of the NHS. And I went over in the rain. I hadn't got a ticket. My brother had been to see it. It was the last night. I was feeling rather a great deal of FOMO, fear of missing out. And I decided to trundle over in the rain, and there was one ticket left, one wheelchair ticket, no carer, no attendee, and there I was, and I got it on the night of the event. And it was about Nye Bevan. Now, Nye Bevan started the NHS, NYE, for those of you that are not live on Twitch or Twitter or Facebook. Nye Bevan began the NHS, so if you think you don't know about Nye Bevan, or you don't think he's got anything to do with you, he has, unless you don't use the NHS at all. So if you've never had an ambulance, never used a doctor, never been to a GP, never been birthed in an NHS hospital, then Nye Bevan is nothing to do with you. However, if you have, not if he has definitely, but if you have, then he's really involved in your life. He said that no organization can truly thrive while parts of its people are left behind, and that inclusive systems don't just save individuals, they save the whole business. Paraphrased, but pretty much what he said, that society only works when each role is connected to the next, and every person belongs within the whole. It's why I bang on about consistently. Nye Bevan began the NHS, and he was a man of great morals. And it's what I spoke about to all the GPs across Wales in the EDI, Equality and Diversity and Inclusion conference at Cardiff City Stadium. And it was only the week before I gave that talk that Sir Charlie Mayfield said, and that's who's meant to be dealing with our work crisis, getting Britain back to work. The GPs are our most important port of call, our first port of call. But he questioned whether GPs can truly play that role. He's right, because we're asking GPs to carry a burden that they were never trained for. But we really do have an answer for them, Charlie. The answer is not to question it on Radio 4, but actually to bring in the company in that corner, Access to Work Me, Accessibility Partners. Why is he saying it? Well, he's saying that the disability employment gap hasn't closed in over a decade, and that 93% of sick notes say not fit for work. Charlie's right. Charlie's right, isn't he? 93% of people going to the doctors saying that they're poorly, can't work. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe that the sick note is fit for purpose. I believe it should be what it is, which is a fit note. And I think it should say only fit for work under these circumstances. And there's two places to tick, right? Not fit for work, and then not fit for work given these parameters. That's the one I want the doctors to tick. Why does it matter? Well, as Charlie so eloquently has explained, the Keep Britain Working review is a review that's focused on tackling long-term sickness and helping people stay in or return to good work. And he's right to call the problem out. The challenge is how he's doing it. Charlie, you're really not doing a decent job. Why? Well, we know that you're not, because people fall through the cracks. This isn't just about adding more to your workload. It's not just about that. It's about having another way of working as a GP, as a frontline person, as a social worker in training like me, as a therapist, as a Senko, as a GP, as a speech and language therapist, as an occupational therapist, as a support worker, as somebody that works in a care home, as a gardener of a care home, as a carer of somebody with needs, as the daughter or the son of somebody who is getting older. Look, people fall through the cracks. They fall through the cracks even when the GP's doing their best, even when you're doing your best. We need a different magnet, a different lever, another option, a way to connect patients and individuals and the ones that you support and the ones that you meet in the street and the ones that if you're a checkout operator at Lidl, you're going to meet every day of the week. The ones that need the right help at the right time without defaulting to being off sick. And the hands in the heart at the top right hand corner are your answer. Access to WorkMe, accessibility partners, GPs, SALTs, therapists, nurses, social workers, support workers, people in the community. Look, there's another way. I know what it's like when the systems don't connect. Why? Because I've lived it. I do live it. I live it every day. 18 months for incontinence services to be referred in Wales, even if you are self-catheterising 6 times a day, even if you do have kidney stents, 18 months before anyone deals with any form of incontinence, whatever the reason. The systems don't connect because in spite of the fact I pay for Bupa, in spite of the fact that I've got a urologist, in spite of the fact I've got a urology nurse, the incontinence services aren't connected to any of those. So I live the systems that don't connect. I've lived and I've supported individuals who have the same conditions, but who receive different outcomes. What's the difference? Well, whether the dots were connected by a person like me, in time, in the right place, to the right people, for the right outcome. Different outcomes, same conditions. Did we connect the dots on time? It's just not showing quite right there, but you all know social prescribing, and if you don't, then social prescribing generally means go to the GP and you might be referred to the gym or exercise classes or a walking group or a choir or volunteering. And, we know that the evidence is strong, that community connection heals. But the new strand has to be inclusion prescribing, surely. Inclusion prescribing. And Wales needs to be the start. Why? Well, because it's big enough to matter, but it's small enough to innovate. We know that change can happen. It already is. GPs are becoming connectors. They are referring into accessibility partners. GPs as prescribers, not only of medicine, but of inclusion. The GPs that are referring to us are helping people that are in their version or in their vision or in their mission seemingly intractable. But they're not, because we are joining the dots early. Good to see people online. We are joining the dots early. Inclusion is not a cost. Inclusion is an investment, and inclusion saves futures. We began at 7 o'clock. We're not going to be here long. We're on live on Clubhouse. We are also, of course, on Facebook and on YouTube, where this will be turned, no doubt, into some sort of video cast or audio video, whatever you call it. What do you call it? Call it a podcast, don't you, MJ? So we're talking about GPs literally closing the gap between who we are and what we're doing. I was just saying that I went to see Nye Bevan. He started the NHS. He said GPs should be connecting, said Sir Charlie Mayfield, connecting the dots, but can they? He's dealing with the get Britain back to work. 93% of sick notes say that we're not fit for work. and the disability employment gap hadn't closed for over a decade. He reckons GPs might find it difficult to help people go back to work, and he's right. They're falling through the gaps. And we know, I know, I live the system that's failing me. We have people with the same conditions that have different outcomes. And the difference is whether the dots are connected on time. Often they're not. So we're talking about why. We're saying that we need to join the dots early because inclusion's not a cost, it's an investment. And inclusion saves futures. It does. What happens while we wait is, well, lots of systems that are there for us cannot be used. Access to work is a fantastic scheme, but it takes 44 weeks if you don't know when to apply for it, or 60 if there's a change of circumstance, or 2 years if you're self-employed and you happen to want to tell them that you're not very well. So by the time people get it, they're already struggling. Disabled Students Allowance is fantastic. It's a great provision, but it only arrives after a student's fallen behind because the universities literally don't know how to get it properly. They've only just got it for me. When I say got it back for me. So I've spent since September to April without disabled students allowance services, without study skills, without mentoring, without equipment, without ink. So by the time it's arrived, which it has now, the damage is done. My confidence is lost. And as a GP, you're left with a patient that's not only not managing, but they're also worse than they were at the beginning. It's time to flip that switch, isn't it? We've got to connect people earlier, before the sick note, before the crisis, before they leave university, before they fail at doing that. It's time to flip the switch, and we can do that if we choose a different option and ask, what barriers is this patient facing? And instead of only reaching for the sick note, which you've got to do, if it's not very well, they shouldn't be at work. But rather than just prompting them to get off work, how about prompting them to get onto an inclusion pathway? This pathway doesn't add to anyone's workload. It relieves it. It doesn't burden you with more forms. It gives your patient real support. That's how GPs become not just gatekeepers, but gateways, and anyone else that refers individuals to a service that thinks about futures, not just about benefits. An example is a young lady who was deaf. She became deaf. She spent years and dropped out of college. She couldn't get work. The cost was thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. She's now graduated, working and contributing. Another woman, same condition, but she was spotted early on by a GP, a social worker for the deaf, a technology aid for her learning to lip read, learning to sign, and she's living in employment now. The first woman took 15 years to get what she's doing sorted. The second one, just 6 months. Same conditions, different timing, different GP responses, different outcome. That's the difference inclusion prescribing makes. It's not abstract and it's not theoretical. Equality in EDI in healthcare is not just about filling in forms. It's about futures, and it's about humans flourishing. And it starts in surgeries, in your office, online, in your groups, in your Facebook groups, in your heart, actually. A system where GPs don't just sign people off, but connect them. And you don't have to be a GP to refer somebody to Access to Work, to us, to accesstowork.me, to Accessibility Partners, because we understand the system and we help people when they choose to become self-employed, when they're thinking about the thing they want to do for self-employment, when they're getting a job, when they've got a job, whilst they're in a job, if they experience any form of difficulty, physical, emotional, psychosocial, chronic health condition, any form of disability, and we can connect them on. So I'm going to leave you with this morning, and it's quite quick. It's Easter morning, Jefferson. It's Easter. And most people are chilling today, and I'm going to go and do the same. But I think we need to ask what barriers are in our way. What barriers are in the way of the people that come into your office, into your place of work, meet you on the bus, speak to you in the street. Those people that really do seem like they aren't quite connecting the dots, and ask them, who can I connect you to before it's too late? And the answer is there on the screen, both in Clubhouse and face to face. It's www.a2w.me or accessibilitypartners.co.uk. Because you GPs, you doctors, you SALTs, you occupational therapists, you social workers, you policemen and women, everyone that's in frontline services, you are saving lives every day. But together, if we connect early, we can make inclusion a prescription, not an afterthought, which means we can also save our futures. It's important to connect early and save lives. The speaker code for me is going to come up on the screen shortly. I'm just going to put us back to this. Society only works when each role is connected to the next, and every person get my teeth in. Every person belongs within the whole.